Hi, everyone. My name is Madelyn Gardner. I am the PR and External Comms Manager here at Jazz and Lincoln Center. And thank you for joining us for another Jazz Intersections, which is an Instagram Live show we do here with a variety of guests from all walks of life, from artists, musicians, to activists, all intersecting at jazz. So I am very, very, very excited to bring on in just a moment our special guest for today. She is an incredible, multi-talented singer, songwriter. You might know her from the genre blending band Like She Dive. She's also half of the jazz duo of Rachael and Bill Ray, who recently in October of 2019 released their self-titled album. It's incredible. I highly suggest streaming that after this live, of course. You got to watch it because she's on here soon. She's also sang and played alongside a variety of artists from Mavis Staple to Wolfpack. I am very, very excited. Please, give us some hand clap emojis, some fire emojis. Welcome our guest today, Miss Rachael Price. And let me bring her in.
Hello. Wow. Well, I'm so close.
We're right here. You look great. Thanks so much.
How's it going?
Great. Thanks so much for joining today. Are you in New York?
Yep. I'm home in Brooklyn.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Good place to be on this, I think, rainy day. It was nice before, but
Yeah, it's a
who
bit
knows?
dreary, but it's nice. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to get right into it because I know we have lots of questions already. We've gotten a lot of DMs with great questions for you today.
Oh, cool.
So, we know that you have really deep roots in jazz from an early age. You were the youngest competitor in the history of the Thelonious Monk Institute vocal competition
Yeah.
to now being half of the jazz duo, Rachael and Bill Ray. So I'd love to hear a little bit of your musical journey, to finding your unique sound and kind of who helped shape you and influence you along the way.
Okay. Well, jazz was definitely my first love. I started singing it when I was pretty young. I was it was a few things. I got really into Ella Fitzgerald when I was like 5 or 6, and I was also really into sort of the old movie musicals from like the 40s and 50s with like Doris Day and Judy Garland, and the sort of musicals that were just shows about putting on a show. And so that was, yeah, I wanted to sing like that. I thought that was just like, that was what normal pop singing was,
Right.
to a certain extent. And I became obsessed. I studied Ella Fitzgerald like I don't know, just I copied her. I learned her songs verbatim. There's like recordings of me at 11, like it's like just singing as close as I could at 11 years old. And so I
And
really
we're going to
wanted,
roll that right now.
yeah, exactly. Hey, I love playing it for people because it's hilarious. It's very precocious, but yeah, by the time I was 15, I had dreams of being just a jazz singer. So I went to the New England Conservatory, which is an excellent jazz school. Well, it's mostly known for classical music, but the jazz program is small and like very focused and like very intense and really, really fun. And when I got there, I met my band, Lake Street Dive, and, sort of had these two desires to be this like straight ahead jazz singer. I had a trio at the time, and I was touring with them and playing at like performing arts centers while I was in college. And then I had Lake Street Dive, which was just we were completely like lost and confused. We had like no genre, no expectations, which was also really fun. And after I got out of college, I realized that what I learned from jazz could be applied to this sort of new original sound that we were still discovering. And then I kind of set jazz down for a little while. I didn't really sing it, and had like mixed feelings about whether or not I should be singing it, which you could ask me about that if you wanted. But eventually like basically 10 years later, realized that my friend Vilry was writing such beautiful music from that sounded like it was from the 30s and the 40s. And I sort of realized that I was missing it a lot. And so that's when I asked him if we could just play some jazz shows at a small club in Williamsburg. And we started doing that, and eventually it grew from there, and now we've made our record, and we're a band.
It's really fantastic. I mean, listening to the record, and I think it was I think it was in Newport. I saw you two playing. It's so natural, just the way you play together. And I mean, you were born to sing jazz music. You have an incredible voice, really.
Thank you.
And it's so interesting to me. I was thinking about kind of, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, the duality of, when you're performing with Lake Street Dive, you're feeding off the audiences. Well, we'll get back to live shows at some point, but,
Yeah.
you're feeding off the audience energy. It's really, there is a lot of, soul and jazz influence in it, but you're feeding off the audience energy of just, dancing and vibing off them versus this really magical kind of listening room vibe you're going for with the duo. Can you talk a bit about what it was like? Because I believe you were touring with both at the same time too. So what that was
Yeah.
like as a musician.
Yeah. Well, the Lake Street Dive was like a very slow and steady ascent to playing bigger and bigger rooms. And I had to learn how to sing very, very differently. And so I'd sort of had to, in some ways, discard a lot of the technique that I'd had for jazz, and even sort of the performance style that I'd used for jazz. And I'd almost like sort of forgotten about it until Vilry and I started playing shows, and I remembered what it was like to just sing, in a small room and be able to hear, a pin drop because it's just me singing and Vilry's like quiet guitar. So it was a real like rediscovery of a completely different type of singing in every way. And I loved it. It was like, it was so great to have that variety, because singing is so fun. It's so different depending on the context. Like it's very different in a studio. It's very different when you're at home alone and singing with yourself. It's extremely different on stage in front of 1,000 people. When you have adrenaline, like it sounds totally different. It feels totally different. And I think that for me, it's really, really nice to experience all the different ways in which singing can feel good.
That's with Lake Street Dive, you guys have been a band and a touring band for about 15, 16 years. Is it about?
Yeah, something like that. Really long time.
Incredible. And I believe I heard a rumor that there's a place in Turner's Falls at the Rendezvous Bar.
Yeah.
Right. That you were playing. It must have been incredible to be playing with the same people. I know that you have a new incredible keys player now as well.
Yeah.
But playing these small spots to like selling out Radio City. Did you always have, when you guys started the band? Was this say you're like, all right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna sell out shows, or was it more of a passion?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It was more of a, yeah. I mean, it's so hard almost to remember what the mindset of 23-year-olds, 22-year-olds fresh out of college. I think really the thrust of it was just that we wanted to do music all the time. Like we didn't want to have other jobs, and we wanted to make music that we liked. That was like, we're like, if we're doing that, we weren't really thinking of it like, let's play the 50-person room, and then hopefully in a year we'll get to play the 100-person room. We were just like, if it's music we like and we can do it all the time, then we'll be happy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of my friends who are working musicians. I mean, they sometimes get a little frustrated having to play those bar gigs that are like, everyone loves Sweet Caroline, but you can only play that so many times until you're like, all right, I want to play my original stuff. So
yeah.
I think it's really magical the way you're able to connect with your fan base too, and throughout all the years, grow as a band, but maintain this really like direct contact to everyone that listens to your music. And like, there's so many comments like, I saw a show and you changed my life. So
oh yeah,
it's really
that's nice.
Magical thing. And I wanted to ask you, obviously, being a musician the past, now is it 9 months? I don't even know. It's felt like so long at this point. How I know that, well, I'd love to talk about too the virtual lessons for an actual change that you've been a part of, and I know that Lake Street has been as well. How have you pivoted, and what was it like, when the pandemic first started versus now, and looking to the next 5-6 months?
Yeah, we've mostly just been adjusting day to day and month to month. we jumped on doing live streams as soon as we could, but we have this challenge of not being able to be all together in the same room.
Mm.
And so that, yeah, that mounted a pretty like serious challenge, but we've managed to make it work by making videos separately and putting them together. Bridget, our bass player, has become the de facto editor. She's gotten really quite good at editing. So yeah, we've all had to learn new skills and kind of just, be where we're at with it.
Mm-hmm.
So in most ways, I would say it's just like we're on hold. We're waiting until we can all at least be in the same room together to do I think if we just found out we could do live streaming concerts all in the same room, we would be stoked. But because of the fact that we all live in different places, it's just not really feasible right now. But yeah, and concerning the virtual lessons for actual change, that has been a really nice product of this time. I think like there's many reasons why we've had time to do it, and also we're very much focused on trying to raise awareness about racial justice in this, and the fight for racial justice in this country. But we're also very passionate about music and always want to connect what we're doing back to music. And so this venture it's been really cool because a lot of musicians, almost everyone we asked all, like a lot of our friends, and they just said, yeah, like we'll donate our time and teach music lessons to raise money for these organizations. So for anyone watching, that's what it is. It's called Virtual Lessons for Actual Change. And it's a collective of musicians that have music lessons that they give. And when you buy the lesson, you are also donating to organizations like the NAACP and Colors of Change. And it's great. And I think the idea is also like, it's about community. It's like, I've just had really nice, sidebar conversations with all the people that I've taught. And, there can be anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, actually. And that's, I don't know, it's just been really nice because it's been a very, very stressful time. And I think artists have a role or can have a role to play in raising awareness because we have these platforms, but it's also always a struggle to do it in a way that's authentic to yourself, authentic to your artistry. And this is a way that we feel like was authentic to us.
And it's an amazing roster of musicians that you can choose from. I was like scrolling through and I was like, I would like to one of each, please. This is incredible.
Yeah,
and like you said,
really
how can you go wrong? You're donating to an amazing cause and also able to connect with so many musicians that I think can really, and I'm sure I know this sounds so cheesy, but like learning from your students as well, and you get to connect with people from like all over the place. So
yeah. I love it. I really, really love it. Like I get such great questions that people ask me in the lessons and it'll range from like, I'm just telling people what vocal warm-ups I do to like one of the last lessons I gave, someone just really wanted to talk to me about like the psychology of like stage fright. And I found it to be like really therapeutic for myself to sort of go through my philosophy and how I deal with nerves and talk about how I feel about performing. And I don't know, I love it. So if you're thinking about booking a music lesson, like think about it in like really broad terms. Like you can do like musicians are very like open people. You can ask them anything. You can be like, teach me this specific song or just talk to me about this. Like they're really fun. Oh yeah. Someone's asking about, oh yeah. It's called Virtual Lessons for Actual Change. And you can just go to Lake Street Dives Instagram, and there's all the information there about it as well.
Someone also asked for your social security number, but we're going to go ahead and not give that to them. But we appreciate, but this is a great, we would like to, if you want to ask any questions, not about that kind of personal information, down the comments below. We'd love to get to some of them for Rachel. And I want to ask you too, before we get to that, how, personally, as someone who plays music and also professionally works in the entertainment industry, I'm finding it hard to, find that creative balance. And also like, it's hard to be creative right now. And I know, I hear a lot that's like, don't wait for the creativity to come, just try to do it. But I think anyone watching and personally would love any of your advice of how have you been finding joy during these times? How have you been finding creativity?
Yeah. Um, I haven't been finding like a lot of creativity in the actual creating of music. Basically, I
Mm,
haven't been writing a lot of music during this time. And I tend to be very at peace with that aspect because I think that um, Erica Badu always, when she talks about like not songwriting or lack of songwriting, she often refers to it as like when she's not writing songs that she's
mm,
downloading. Like she's just like she's taking information in and taking in experiences, and I really like that philosophy about it. Like not really thinking about anything like writer's block per se, but just really you are where you are at,
mm.
and you know every song that I've written has come from an experience, so it's just as worthwhile to experience life as it is to write about it.
Yeah.
And this is like quite a time to be experiencing and like to like maintain presence and to just like sort of stay healthy and like have a positive attitude is like for me kind of like hard enough as it is.
Yes,
So I don't really
absolutely.
feel the need to put extra pressure on myself.
Mm,
But I've taken a lot of joy in just learning songs. Like I've just been playing more guitar or sitting down at my keyboard and like just being like, oh, how does that song go? Like I don't perform on an instrument, so that's like a pretty novel thing for me.
mm.
So I'll do that, and I've also been learning Spanish, which is really fun.
Amazing,
Yeah,
incredible.
intensively learning Spanish actually.
So next time that I go to a Lake Street show, you're gonna play guitar and do some Spanish. I'm excited. This is
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be
definitely. I'm gonna get all into it, like album in Spanish next year. Yeah,
incredible, incredible.
yeah,
Well, I think that's a really great thing to meditate on too. And I mean, I remember seeing a lot of memes early on. That's like, Shakespeare wrote all this stuff while he was in quarantine. I'm like, okay, I should be doing a lot of stuff, right? It's hard to
yeah,
find that balance, but it's, finding that joy that I think that you talked about so beautifully.
yeah.
So thank you for
There's
sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, what I think I've learned is like there's always stuff that I should be doing all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw a
So,
couple. I want to get to a couple of these questions. So I saw one. What are your top three Ella songs?
oh, top three Ella songs. Um, Miss Otis Regrets.
Mm,
She has the best version of that one. I just get a tasket because she sings it when she's like a kid and she sounds incredible. Well, that and there's one that she does when she's also really young called "Dedicated to You," which is like one of my favorite
mm.
jazz songs of all time. And this is a hard one. Oh, I love her version of Jersey Bounce.
So good.
It's the
So,
best.
so good.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
really good. And I saw another question here. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone trying to be a professional performing musician?
I think it goes back to something I mentioned before, which is do music that you like.
Mm,
I don't know. I think we think a lot about what other people like, and first you have to start with like, what do I like? Because
right.
I think people hear authenticity, and then they hear what's on top. Like they hear what you're doing, and I think
Mm,
it's just like that's how it's always been for us. It's just like I just have to enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point?
absolutely. And I can only imagine it gets a little soul sucking after a while if you're playing a lot of stuff professionally. Is you don't want to play. You don't hear the authenticity in it. I
Yeah.
did see someone ask, and I'd love to know, do you have perfect pitch? Because I feel like you do.
I don't have perfect pitch. Thank God. I wouldn't
Are
want
you
it.
sure?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, for sure. I have fine, decent relative pitch, and for songs that I sing a lot, I can remember the key, but that's a muscle memory thing, not my ear.
I think also there was an adorable animal that just was trying to come in here and steal the show. Is that
Yeah, that was my cat
adorable?
Stella. My cat Stella, she thinks I'm talking to her right now, so she was visiting.
Understandable, as a cat should.
Yeah, she's like, "Who are you talking to? You're in a room
It's not
alone."
me, so I don't understand. I see another question here. It says, when you hurt your ankle last year, did you think you wanted to cancel the shows? How was that process like to decide keep going? The throne was beautiful. Addition to the stage. I do agree.
Thank you. I broke, it was my foot, and I broke it actually like 1 week before my wedding. And
Naturally.
I know, yeah, because that's the best time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to cancel the wedding, but I never considered canceling tour. I was like, oh, it's like, because it's like you only get married once, but like tour, I was like, whatever, I'll just like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I'll sit in a chair. The throne was like key because I wouldn't have thought of the throne. That was our tour manager went to a place called Throne King in Sunset Park. He was like, they got lots of thrones.
A throne. That's Throne King. It's a place.
Throne King in some, yeah, exactly. I think
Incredible.
yeah. Anyway, there's a store in Brooklyn and it's full of thrones.
Of course it's in Brooklyn. I love that. That's why Brooklyn's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Oh, that's great. I saw one more question here too. I wanted to, who was your favorite band that you've opened up for? And then they said the Abbott Brothers, right? I mean, it must be so hard. You sang with, I mean, and you were, I mean, makes me so sad to talk about, but Live From Here, which sadly is no longer, I think will eventually be a thing again.
I hope so. Yeah,
I think it must be. It's such a, institution of a show. But maybe instead of who's your favorite band, what are some highlights from you, either from like, when you were just starting out into maybe recently someone you sat in with?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've opened for a lot of people over the years, and it's like, it's always a really fun experience because it's kind of like you're putting on a new outfit. That's how it feels when you're in front of an audience that like is there to see a different band and like doesn't know you.
Right.
But I think that, for us opening, I think one of the funnest tours we did like that was opening up for Josh Ritter, because he had such an enthusiastic audience. I mean, these are people that come and they just want to listen to Josh Ritter, say a lot of really like poetic lyrics. And so I think that their level of attention was really amazing. And it was really cool to like go out there and just be unknown. And we were, I mean, completely obscure at that time. And we'd never played to audiences more than like, 50 people. But yeah, I mean, opening for the Avett Brothers has also been really, really, really fun. And their crowd is similar in that they are very enthusiastic and they're very keen listeners.
That must have been really incredible for you to open up for Josh Ritter and then have him open up for you at a Morosaurus. That must have been a kind of crazy, like full circle moment there.
It felt good. It felt like that's the community that we love. So yeah,
for sure.
Really nice. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Now I want to ask you maybe one or two more questions. I know that you are very busy, and we'll plug. I want really encourage everyone, first of all, to go stream Rachael Bill Ray. It's incredible. And it's also like for this time of year, it's just like the perfect sound. You want to like cozy up with the blanket. I live in a basement in Queens, so I don't have a fireplace, but if you have a fireplace,
yes,
put it on and just
it is
enjoy.
A holiday record. It's very warm.
It is.
It's like a hug.
And I saw someone ask, will there be a second album?
Yes, for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying please part 2. So you heard it here first, exclusive on jazz.org's Instagram Live. There will be a second one. I saw one other question here I wanted to ask as well. Someone asked busking again anytime soon, but
we were trying to do another busk, but we've been waiting for a warm day. So if the weather is above 50 degrees, check my Instagram.
Amazing.
Good chance we'll be busking.
Someone asked, do you think it's possible to start a music career solely online during the pandemic? I sing and play multiple instruments. Goal is to monetize and record my first album.
Definitely. I mean, I think, yeah, for sure. I feel like people start whole careers of nothing online.
Right. That's very true.
It's a pretty incredible tool. I mean, for Lake Street Dive, like even 10 years ago, YouTube was what broke us. Like it wasn't really like, I don't think without YouTube and like putting our videos on there and like sort of the novelty of it was also very new for people. They were like, what's this thing called YouTube? And they were like, oh, there's videos.
Isn't it crazy to think back to a time that was it,
Yes.
YouTube was.
I can't even quite describe it to people. It's like, I don't know how to tell 20-year-olds. I'm like, YouTube, we were like freaked out. We were like, there's this video and this guy's like singing about chocolate rain. And like, we don't understand. We don't understand what's happening. Like the world's crazy. And now it's like, but yeah, I mean, those videos, like we had one video in particular of a cover, and I think without that video, a lot of things wouldn't have happened for us. So yeah, you can use the internet.
Incredible. And I'd love to kind of end on a question that I like to ask everyone I chat with here on the InstagramLive.com. And that is, if you could give, if what's a piece of advice that you wish your younger self just starting out received that you could give to yourself?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Okay, I'm just thinking about it for just a quick
Please
second.
do. Please do.
Yeah, I wish I think I've like spent too much time like wondering if we need to like if I needed to be like cool, like a cool musician, or like do something differently that makes me like seem cool. And I wish if someone had just been like, that doesn't matter, like nobody cares. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just do you, and it just doesn't matter. Yeah,
I
I
love
think
that.
I don't.
It's so no, that's so hard to do that. You think you have to have, this picture of something or be the cool musician. So it doesn't matter. Be
Yeah,
yourself, play the music you want to play.
it is. Yeah, exactly.
I listen, thank you. That was beautiful and everyone heard that. Rachel Price said herself, play the music you like to play. Don't need to be that cool person, because you being yourself is that cool person. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time to chat today.
Yeah,
This
you're
was
welcome.
so lovely. I want to remind everyone should please, please, please also go to, if you can share that, is it virtuallessonsforchange.com?
Virtual lessons for actual change.
Actual change. You can go to
Yeah.
Lake Street Dive. You can, if you Google Lake Street Dive too, you can go to that website and find how to get there, sign up for some great classes, stream all of her music because all of it is amazing. Thank you personally too, because Lake Street Dive is my favorite band in the world. So this has been a
Oh,
pleasure for me.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much and have a good one. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to hearing the second album and everything else.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a
Have
good
a good
day.
one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.